Evil visited this community today.
A 20-year-old madman walked into the elementary school in Newton, Connecticut, where he was once a student and where his mother still teaches, and coldly killed 27 people. Most of them were children.
I heard lots of booms, booms, and then I heard yelling and put your hands up, don't shoot. We heard lots of scary stuff.
Tonight, a small town and the country in shock and grieving.
Beautiful little kids between the ages of 5 and 10 years old. They had their entire lives ahead of them.
Why would a young man do this? It's a question so many people are trying to answer tonight, including some of the teachers who today became heroes and saved so many little lives.
I said there are bad guys out there now. We need to wait for the good guy.
And on this most tragic of nights, good evening, everyone. I'm Bill Ritter.
And I'm Sade Bedarenwa. Here is the latest. 27 people killed, including 20 children, plus the young gunman. So much carnage, so much sorrow, and now so many questions. And tonight we're learning about the victims. Officials confirmed the Sandy Hook Elementary principal, Dawn Hochsprung, was among those killed. She was a principal in Woodbury until a few years ago. 27-year-old Vicky Soto taught at the school for 5 years. She put herself between the gunman and the children.
We have reporters fanned out in Connecticut and New Jersey for this story that has stunned the tri-state and shocked the country. We're going to start with Marcus Solis. He's got the latest on the second deadliest school shooting in U.S. history at Sandy Hook Elementary School in Newtown. Marcus.
And Bill, the bloodshed actually started 3 miles from here when the gunman shot and killed his mother. Then, for reasons no one can understand, he continued killing. He arrived here shooting nearly 24 children between the ages of 5 and 10. The grim procession of loved ones walking into the Firehouse Command Center continued into the night, the end to the darkest day Newtown has ever known. 20 young children killed in their elementary school.
We got to school. We did everything we needed to, and then we heard all this racket at our classroom, and we were like all scared.
We all hid into my teacher's office, and it was scary, and we had to hide there.
Police say 20-year-old Adam Lanza is the gunman who began his killing spree by shooting his mother at their home this morning. By 9:30, he was at Sandy Hook Elementary, armed with multiple weapons.
When we heard gunshots, that didn't sound like our Army gunshots or our policeman gunshots.
Units in the pool, I got bodies here. Let's get ambulances.
The school went into lockdown as state and local police responded. Teachers ushering students into closets, even bathrooms, any safe place they could find. Eventually, hundreds of terrified youngsters were evacuated, taken to the firehouse next door.
The cops evacuated us, and they told us quick walk out of the building, and they were armed, and they said just get out quick.
But there was a sickening number who did not make it out. 6 adults, 20 children, and the gunman. The second worst mass school shooting in history. No shortage of tears shed today by parents, school employees, and the President of the United States.
This evening, Michelle and I will do what I know every parent in America will do, which is hug our children a little tighter. And we'll tell them that we love them. And we'll remind each other how deeply we love one another. But there are families in Connecticut who cannot do that tonight. And they need all of us right now.
Well, police say the shooting was confined to 2 rooms in the school. 18 of the children pronounced dead at the scene. 2 would die in the hospital. 1 teacher remains hospitalized. And the suspect, Adam Lanza, he took his own life. We're live in Newtown. Marcus Solis, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
Marcus, thank you. Well, tonight, many are struggling with emotions, turning to one another for some sort of comfort. Hundreds pouring into St. Rose of Lima Church in Newtown tonight, holding hands, lighting candles, saying prayers, and sharing tears. Eyewitness News reporter Jim Dolan picks up our coverage outside the church. Jim?
Sade, on a day when the wounds were so deep and the pain was so great, many here in this small community turned both to their faith and to each other. They prayed and they cried and they cursed the madness that claimed so many lives. And like a bulwark against their grief, they did all of that together. hands at St. Rose of Lima tonight. They held hands and walked arm in arm, and they hugged and would not let go. After a day so much colder than winter, some came to church for a measure of warmth at last in the arms of those they loved.
How many hugs have we had today?
I'm just happy to have her. So blessed.
They came to church by the hundreds tonight, packing St. Rose of Lima for a vigil. So many hoping to lighten the burden by sharing the burden. But the burden is so great.
One little girl who's going to be an angel in our Christmas pageant next Tuesday. Another little girl who's already chosen her first communion dress. She was so excited. What do you say to those parents?
I once was lost, but now I'm found.
So many came the church couldn't hold them all, and so some gathered outside. They lit candles, and yes, they held each other and thanked the Lord for this.
At least he's with me.
The phone calls started coming in, the IMs, the texts, everybody at work that knows I belong to this town and community. We're calling and concerned to make sure we weren't affected negatively, but the truth of the matter is we all are.
It's unbelievable to be standing here in our little sleepy town in Connecticut. It's so far beyond awful.
So far beyond awful. It was beautiful in many ways to see couples holding on to each other and parents holding on to their children. The day won't be remembered for that, but it brought it about. Reporting live, Jim Dolan, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Way far beyond awful. Jim, thank you. Moms and dads today taking their kids to school this morning with no idea about what was to befall them. After the shootings, the parents gathering at the Sandy Hook fire station, the lucky ones, were reunited with their children. The other parents, well, their kids just didn't show up, and that's how they found out. Eyewitness News reporter Jeff Pegues with their stories. He's at the firehouse. Jeffrey?
Well, Bill, you could see it in their eyes, the obvious pain and grief that parents are and were feeling. We witnessed that here at this firehouse. This is where many of the children were brought from the school after the shooting. It just didn't seem real. We heard that a lot today, and it didn't as this tragedy unfolded. Hard to believe this was happening anywhere, let alone here.
As it got to the point we knew it was Sandy Hook and that the shooter was in the school, it became an ultimate nightmare. It was
a living nightmare for parents across this Connecticut town. They were hearing the news, seeing the images, and praying their son or daughter wasn't among the dead.
Absolutely terrifying. Not knowing what was going on, not being able to get here was really heart pumping, and it was tough.
This firehouse down the street from the school is where many worried parents gather, looking for answers, looking for their children, little girls and boys who'd in just a matter of minutes seen too much. Many of the parents who came here no doubt wondered if there would be a reunion at all.
I was like, so I got in the car and came here and, and count our blessings.
For dozens of parents here, this holiday will be one in mourning. This community shares their pain.
I'm sure I know some of these little children. Not well, but probably seen them in the supermarket or whatever.
Newtown is grappling with a new reality, trying to figure out how to move forward.
Who's going to tell us a 6-year-old, about his friend when he goes to camp next year that he's not going to be there?
And we're told to shield their eyes as they were escorted from the building, but one dad told me that his 7-year-old smelled the gunpowder and saw the bodies. We're live in Newtown. Jeff Pegues, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Unimaginable. Jeff, thank you. Well, there are so many victims in this tragedy, and tonight we are slowly learning their names. One of them, the school's principal. Eyewitness News reporter N.J. Burkett is in Newtown with new details. N.J.?
Sade, well known and well liked. That is how friends and colleagues are remembering Dawn Hochbrock. Her story is a tremendous story of courage. She didn't run out of her office when she heard the shots. She did whatever she could to protect her children. Out in the hallway is apparently where and how she died. She lived in a condo community in nearby Woodbury, Connecticut, a town where she had been an elementary school principal until about 2 years ago. Parents there say she was a gifted administrator and a good friend.
To go into an elementary school? I'm sorry, she went to daycare, like, right across the street from the fire department. She was a wonderful principal. I treasured her. It's just devastating. And to lose a woman like her, it just takes too much.
And we are hearing stories of courage tonight. Another story of courage, like a teacher who died trying to save her students. Vicky Soto was shielding the children as she tried to get them into a closet. Today, her family was told that's how she died.
Her first instinct was to protect her kids from harm, and she did that, and unfortunately, she didn't survive. That she lost her life doing what she loved. I don't think she would have it any other way.
Vicky Soto was just 27 years old. She was a first-grade teacher and had been at Sandy Hook Elementary for 5 years.
This was obviously a day of great emotion and great sorrow. Few of us were immune to the grief and to the tears, including President Obama, who spoke not just as commander-in-chief, but also father-in-chief. Barack Obama, the dad, clearly responding today with his heart.
The majority of those who died today were children. Beautiful little kids between the ages of 5 and 10 years old. They had their entire lives ahead of them. Birthdays, graduations, weddings, kids of their own.
There's no script.
And you were just listening to remarks made by President Obama. Well, tonight, another victim in this tragedy, a mother. Her own son taking her life, shooting her in the face, then going on a rampage. The rage, the reason. Adam Lanza now taking it to his grave. We'll never know why he took his mother's life and of all those other victims. Jim Hoffer with new information at the second crime scene in Connecticut. Jim?
Sade, Adam Lanza lived here in this subdivision of Newtown known as Sandy Hook, a place of big homes and big yards. He and his mother lived here for years, drawing very little attention until today. State police are still gathering evidence tonight at the Lanza family home where Adam lived with his mother and where law enforcement says the 20-year-old started his murderous rampage. First, fatally shooting his mother in the face, then driving to the school where she once worked to finish his massacre. At one point, state police tactical units evacuated families near the Lanza home, fearful the gunman may still be a threat. In this well-to-do neighborhood, those who knew the Lanzas say they fit right in.
They seemed just like another family out early in the morning, bringing their kids to the bus stop, and you know, just waiting for the day. Nothing struck any of us or struck me anyway, as being unusual.
A former school bus driver remembers Adam Lanza as a normal kid.
He was a nice kid, very polite. She raised very nice boys to me. That's why I think it's a shock to even know them and realize who they are and what he did.
But a former classmate hinted that Adam may have been a loner.
Just never really noticed him with anybody. I don't know about any of relationships he had with people or anything like that.
A profile of the killer is starting to emerge as someone whom struggled to connect with others. He had no known criminal history. It appears, though, he had a familiarity with guns, as did the mother, who had several registered in her name. Authorities have not confirmed if any of her guns were used in the shootings. Whatever we learn about Adam Lanza in the days ahead, nothing will be able to explain what he did.
It's unfathomable. Then the news starts to break and you just go numb.